Hi there, this is Lee. And in previous videos, I've speculated on some mystifying behavior from the NAACP and the Congressional Black Caucus overall, and then certain members of the Congressional Black Caucus. The behavior that just seems so illogical, and some actually unethical. I've noticed that members of the Congressional Black Caucus have often voted against the interests of the districts that they represent. Not only that, the racial demographic that they claim that they represent. And so, what could possibly be a reason or an explanation for that behavior? The reason why I ask questions like this is because I know that Shirley Chisholm actually was a founding member of the Congressional Black Caucus. She ran for president under the slogan of unbought and unbossed, meaning that she had no boss and no one bought her votes. She brought herself into Congress, and she was proud of that fact. And so she was a founding member of the Congressional Black Caucus, and I'm just wondering what she would think if she could see what the Congressional Black Caucus is doing these days with the power of their offices. I created two videos in the past. One is a message to Congressional Black Caucus, stop, and that was regarding their race baiting of Bernie Sanders, their lies against Bernie Sanders, specifically John Lewis, who tried to imply that Bernie Sanders had no connection to the civil rights movement, and that was a lie. That was disproven by Chicago Tribune. In fact, there were photos and with captions and other documentation clearly explaining that not only was Bernie Sanders an organizer, he was a leader with CORE, Congress on Racial Equality, and SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. He had traveled with them to hear Martin Luther King Jr. speak. And so he was definitely involved with desegregation of housing in the University of Chicago area, on the south side of Chicago. And so that was easily disproven as a lie. And it just, begs the question of why was that lie even spoken by John Lewis? What was the motivation for that? It was mystifying. And also the Congressional Black Caucus sending a letter demanding that Bernie Sanders drop his efforts to reform the Democratic electoral process and the superdelegates, the power of the superdelegates, which disenfranchise the communities that they represent, especially the elected officials and the lobbyists who were not elected officials but still have the power to disenfranchise approximately 10,000 voters by voting against them. And so Bernie Sanders wanted to perform that, and the Congressional Black Caucus sent him an open letter implying that he was a racist. And it was just ugly behavior and bizarre behavior, abusive behavior, inexcusable and shameful behavior. And so it also mystifying. It just, this is the leadership. You look at the leadership and you just say, what on earth? We have youth who are trying to appeal to the members of the Congressional Black Caucus, and they're met with idiotic behavior in return that makes no sense. And so, they have to seek alternative leadership. Also, the NAACP, which invited Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump to speak to them about issues, the Democratic Party, the platform, or the Republican Party. Hillary Clinton accepted the invitation and spoke. Donald Trump turned down the invitation to speak. And then Jill Stein offered to take Donald Trump's place, and the NAACP declined her offer. And again, it makes no sense when you look at Jill Stein's platform, which is definitely of benefit to the African American community and other communities of color. And you have to ask yourself, okay, in that case, why then did the NAACP turn down Jill Stein's offer to speak? And, with virtually no explanation or any that made sense. And again, it was just mystifying, especially in the midst of a volatile season of electoral politics, driven in part by issues of police violence against African American youth who are unarmed and not resisting. And it made no sense. And so I was at Counterpunch recently, and I saw an article there that gives quite a bit of historical context, not necessarily of the NAACP, but definitely of the Congressional Black Caucus and the reasons for their behavior, the reasons why they vote the way they do, the way they act the way they do, the reasons why they say the things that they do. That just makes no sense at all. Someone's got them on a leash, and when they pull that leash, the Congressional Black Caucus obeys. And so, Counterpunch article explains that. I'm going to leave a link in the description, and you can read that article yourself and see what you think, if that provides a reasonable explanation, because I certainly didn't have one. I was just saying, like, this makes no sense. The NAACP and the Congressional Black Caucus, how they treated Bernie Sanders, how they're treating Jill Stein. It makes no sense. And so maybe that article does, because I sure didn't have an answer. You can read that article and then get back to me in the comments and just tell me what you think.